Hi, Professor Wainaina here, your 5-minute teacher on education, childhood, youth, parenting, and all things school. Welcome. Of all the errors that you can commit in child rearing, none is more catastrophic than protecting a child from the consequences of their actions. This practice is not just a minor misstep, it is the breeding ground for real monsters. Children who grow up to become genuine threats to society. It doesn't matter what else you teach your child, values, skills, knowledge. If you fail to instill the fundamental principle that choices have consequences, you undermine everything. The result is not merely a maladjusted individual, but a real danger to society, a menace created by misguided parental protection. The damage inflicted by shielding a child from consequences cannot be overstated. The child begins to develop an omnipotent sense of self where they believe they can act with impunity. This is not a harmless quack or a phase to be outgrown. It is the foundation of serious narcissism and even psychopathy. A child who is never held accountable grows to believe that the world revolves around their whims, that rules are for others and not for them. They learn to manipulate, to exploit, to dominate, believing themselves invincible because they have never faced the rebuke of justice. The social implications of this are horrifying. Accountability is not just a social nicety, it is the bedrock of any functioning community. When a child is exempted from learning that their actions have repercussions, they do not just grow up to be socially awkward or difficult, they become incapable of understanding the basic principles that hold society together. They do not learn empathy because they have never had to consider the impact of their actions on others. They do not learn cooperation because they have always been protected from the need to compromise. They do not learn responsibility because they have never been made to face the consequences of irresponsibility. These children are not just poorly socialized, they are antisocial in the most literal sense of the word. The consequences of this parenting mistake are not confined to the child's immediate environment. The child grows up without understanding that actions have consequences, becomes an adult who is a menace to society. This is the individual who believes that laws do not apply to them, who exploits others without remorse, who cannot handle even the mildest criticism or the smallest setback without lashing out. This is the individual who naturally spirals into criminality, violence, and destruction. They are not just a nuisance, they are a real and present danger. Entitlement, too, is not merely an attractive personality trait in such individuals. It is a real corrosive force that erodes the very fabric of society. An entitled child expects the world to bow to their desires and lashes out violently when it does not. They grow up to be adults who believe they are owed everything and that nothing is ever their fault. This sense of lack of accountability creates individuals who are willing to break rules, harm others, and destroy anything that stands in their way. They do not just inconvenience those around them, they pose a legitimate threat to society order. The ultimate tragedy is that these children who could have grown up to be productive, empathetic members of society instead become the very monsters their parents sought to protect them from. By shielding them from consequences of their actions, parents do not protect them, they doom them. The child who never learns that choices have consequences never learns to make good choices. Instead, they learn to make dangerous ones. Choices that harm themselves, their loved ones, and society at large. There is no greater failure in parenting than protecting a child from the consequences of their actions. Never do it. This is not just an error, it is a catastrophe with far-reaching implications. It doesn't matter how much love, education, or opportunity you give your child. If they do not learn that actions have consequences, nothing else will matter. They will be monsters in the truest sense of the word, and society will pay the price. As a parent, understand that teaching your child accountability is not just a lesson. It is the most important lesson, and without it, all else is useless. Thank you for your time. See you in the next lesson.